Good day, folks. My name is Ed McFerran. Hopefully by now we've had the opportunity to meet each other in one of our descriptive videos regarding the overall tax-deferred exchange process. This video is going to be probably pretty long, going to be pretty detailed, so hold on to your hat, get a cup of coffee if you want to listen to this particular video, because it's going to be probably the longest video that you'll experience in your overall tax-deferred exchange. Why? Because this is a stage of your tax-deferred exchange that has an awful lot of moving parts. Congratulations! If you're receiving this video along with our closing letter of your relinquished property, the letter will depict the specific day upon which your transaction closed. It will also tell you the time period of your exchange by specifically telling you what date is the 45th day after that day of closing. Please pay particularly close attention to that. It will also tell you what exact date is the 180th day of your particular transaction. It will specifically state the bank to which the monies have been deposited, and it will specifically state the amount of monies that have been deposited on your behalf. That letter, while it's detailed in nature, I think it's about 5 or 6 pages now, will go over in written form the various duties and responsibilities you have during this post-closing of relinquished property time. This video will either augment that or hopefully, to a great degree, replace that. This is a video that will go over in detail the specific requirements of your tax-deferred exchange after the closing of your first relinquished property. Your exchange period started, folks, on the day of the closing of your relinquished property. The overall exchange period is 180 days from the closing of that relinquished property. Now, these days are calendar days, weekends count, holidays count, every day counts in your tax-deferred exchange. We don't have any special events that cause those time periods to extend. So if it says 180 days, take a look at our letter. That's the date upon which your exchange will officially end. It ends on the 181st day, one day after the 180th day. The critical time period for most of our clients is not the 180 days, however. The critical time period tends to be the 45 days after the closing of your relinquished property. Again, that 45-day date is specified in the letter that goes along with this video that you've received. Pay particularly close attention to that date, because that's the date upon which we're going to have from you a written declaration of potential replacement properties that you wish to acquire. Let's go over this in an overview mode for just a moment. The Internal Revenue Service and the Congress provides an opportunity for us to complete a tax-deferred exchange. They deem this to be a privilege. As a result, we need to cross our T's and dot our I's and do everything in a very conservative fashion, because there are no opportunities for extensions, or I guess what the millennials would call a do-over. These rules are extremely precise and concise and require that we comply with the rules. As long as we comply with the rules, your tax-deferred exchange, folks, is in a safe harbor. Our job as qualified intermediary, or again, the tour guide for your transaction, is to keep you on the straight and narrow and provide you a transaction that meets the safe harbor rules. Our goal with this video is to help and assist you in meeting those safe harbor obligations, so that by the end of the 45th day, you have met the declaration requirements. So let's talk about when we don't need to declare. It won't take much time, because in our practice of clients completing tax-deferred exchanges, only about 5% of our clients complete the acquisition of the replacement property within the 45-day time period. So we're referring now to those 5% of our viewers here that will complete the acquisition, which includes the closing of your relinquished property within 45 days after the closing date of your relinquished property. If you do so, you don't have to read or listen to or take advantage of the videos and papers and any other flyers that we have regarding the 45-day declaration period, because the only time that you have a duty to disclose or file a list of properties that you wish to acquire is if you want to keep the tax-deferred exchange period open past 45 days. Here's an explanation that I think can be helpful. You have entered into an agreement to take advantage of a tax-deferred exchange in order to curtail, limit, defer your capital gains tax. By setting up a tax-deferred exchange, you have agreed to leave the window of opportunity open for 45 days. If you declare, the window of opportunity will remain open an additional 135 days for a total of 180 days. If you acquire the replacement property within the 45 days, there's no duty or requirement that you declare, and there's no requirement or duty that you extend the exchange period past the 45 days. So in a nutshell, if you're going to acquire all of your replacement properties or properties within 45 days of the closing of your relinquished property, there's no duty to declare, and your transaction will end upon the day of closing of the last to acquire replacement property within the 45-day time period. I'm going to stop on that point right now and move on to the 95% of our clients who need more than 45 days to close on the relinquished property or properties that you wish to acquire. Let's talk through that now. The Internal Revenue Service and the Congress didn't allow us to play in the marketplace for the full 180 days. They limited our ability to do so with 45 days to market and look for properties, and then we had to narrow down the inventory of properties that we wish to acquire in order to have the additional open window of opportunity for 135 days, again for that total of 180 days. This 45-day declaration period is a bother. It is a problem. It is a stressor for many of our clients, particularly in the marketplace that we're in today, where the marketplace has relatively little inventory and many buyers. As a result, you need to know that the declaration has opportunities for us to complete different methods of doing so. We're going to spend time in this long video looking at 3 different methods of declaring properties. We're going to recommend the first method. We call that our best practice method. We'll refer to it as the 3-property rule. We're going to talk about a second method here in a couple of minutes called the 200% rule, which allows you to declare more than 3 properties. And we're going to spend a few minutes talking about the 95% rule. So there are 3 different ways of making a declaration. If you read through your letter, we do describe those 3 different ways. And I'm going to tell you right now that rule number 1, what we call the 3-property rule, is again going to be our recommended method of declaring properties in your tax-deferred exchange. To a certain degree, the 200% rule will work for you, but I can unequivocally tell you that rule number 3 will not work for you in your tax-deferred exchange. Why do we even bring it up? Well, we bring it up because it is available, but it was never designed for real estate tax-deferred exchange. It was designed for a different type of tax-deferred exchange. So we'll find that it's not really applicable. So let's go on now to the first best practice rule, the 3-property rule. This rule says that you can declare any number of properties up to 3, 1 or 2 or 3. They can be located anywhere in the United States, Alaska, Hawaii, and the Virgin Islands. They can be of any value whatsoever, and you only need to acquire 1 or 2 or all 3. That, in a nutshell, is a 3-property rule. And of course, let's take that apart for just a second. What do we need? Well, number 1, we need a writing. Number two, we need a writing signed by whoever the exchangers are. So if the exchangers are husband and wife, we need it signed by both the husband and wife. If the exchanger is a limited liability company, we need it signed by the appropriate party authorized to sign on behalf of the limited liability company in this type of process. It needs to be delivered to the qualified intermediary, and it needs to be delivered by midnight of the 45th day. It can be delivered in a variety of fashions: fax, email, courier pigeon, personal delivery, all those types of things. But at that point in time, that becomes the inventory of properties that we have available to purchase and leaves the window of opportunity open for that additional 135 days. The question often comes up, what happens if I declare on day number 5, but I make a change on day number 7 and make another change on day number 10? You can change your declaration at any point in time up until midnight of the 45th day. You could have 45 or 90 or 135 different declarations, and in fact, we probably suggest to a great degree that you don't declare at all until you're absolutely sure what property or properties that you actually wish to declare. You have until midnight of the 45th day in order to do so, and if you were to declare at times prior to that, we are happy to modify the declaration, we're happy to throw away a declaration, we're happy to enter into a new declaration. And in fact, there's no need for any declaration to be actually executed or signed until midnight of the 45th day. I want to make that very clear. You can modify, slice, dice, mince, do whatever you want to do with your declaration of replacement properties at any time during the 45 days of your declaration period under any of these rules. The key thing is, upon the midnight of the 45th day, whatever property or properties that you do declare become the only properties that are available for you to actually acquire. This creates a tremendous amount of stress, because if you are somewhat sloppy in your declaration,